I'm here. I just have to take this down. Whoops. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I apologize for not streaming last night, but my bed got delivered and I decided that I would put it together on my own. And because we're in lockdown, you can't have people come and help you. So 4 hours later, my bed was up. Oh, wow. It was an experience. So that's why I wasn't there. Well, that's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. Hope you're all well. Well, we have got huge night ahead of us tonight. There is so much to talk about before we even get into the Katie Joy Todd Chrisley stuff. But somebody has written, an independent media organization has revealed that they think they know who Porter's Blind Trust is. And I've got the article. So there's a whole pile of things that have happened over the last 24, 48 hours. So we're going to talk about Porter. We're going to talk about the Prime Minister, Scott Morrison. We're going to talk about how President Joe Biden referred to him from the fella down under. Yes, that's funny. We're going to talk about Hillsong's Brian Houston because he's done something very interesting. Because he actually has to face court in October regarding not reporting child SA. So there's an update on that. There is an issue on Bruz's property with a wombat. Yes, a wombat. And then we get to all the Katie Joy without a crystal ball and Todd Chrisley stuff, which, wow, blew me away. So that's where we're going to tonight. So there is a lot to talk about. And it was really annoying because, hello, Cooper, because I actually had made all these notes that I was going to talk about last night. And as I said, I never made it on. So then, so I had all these notes. And I don't even think I've got time to, I don't have time to discuss it. Frowning face. Thank you, Dee. Oh yeah, we're going to talk about some stuff here. So I did, because I did the video about Simone Biles facing the US Senate. That actually is a very shocking story. Amazing how the FBI has messed up there. But I think how many people that aren't high profile have been let down, I guess, is my question. So let's start with something. Can't stay. Okay, see you, Dee. Thank you. Oh, that's why you're friendly. Yeah. I'll timestamp everything so you can jump back on, pick it up where we left off. So let's start. So Biden referred to Scomo. So our Prime Minister, we refer to him as Scomo or Scotty for marketing. Scotty for marketing. He refers to him as that fella down under, which I thought was really interesting. So there's two ways you can say that. You can say, well, President Biden forgot. I need to read. I'll do it later. It was working before. So Scott Morrison has been called many things, but that fella down under may be the one that stays.
I'm very pleased to join two great friends of freedom out of Australia, Prime Minister Johnson and President Biden. Today, we join our nations in a next generation partnership built on a strong foundation of proven trust. We have always seen the world through a similar lens. We've always believed in a world that favours freedom, that respects human dignity, the rule of law, the independence of sovereign states and the peaceful fellowship of nations. And while we have always looked to each other to do what we believe is right, we have never left at each other. Always together, never alone. Our world is becoming more complex, especially here in our region, the Indo-Pacific. This affects us all. The future of the Indo-Pacific will impact all our futures. To meet these challenges, to help deliver the security and stability our region needs, we must now take our partnership to a new level. A partnership that seeks to engage, not to exclude, to contribute, not take, and to enable and empower, not to control or coerce. And so, friends, AUKUS is born, a new enhanced trilateral security partnership between Australia, the United Kingdom, and the United States. AUKUS, a partnership where our technology, our scientists, our industry, our defence forces are all working together to deliver a safer and more secure region.
Oh, it's 11 minutes long. We're not going to sit through and watch this. Sorry.
Thank you for this partnership.
I just want to see this.
Appreciate it, Mr. Premise. I'm honored today to be joined by, thank you, Boris, and I want to thank that fellow down under.
You thought it was about AUKUS? Yeah, so he looked. So Biden turns to the British Prime Minister to pay his gratitude and says, thanks, Boris. And then he says, I want to thank that fella down under. Thank you very much, pal. Appreciate it, Mr. Prime Minister. Hello, Rosalind. Morrison did the only thing he could. He gave Biden the thumbs up. And it says he eventually got it right. I'm honored today to be joined by two of Australia's closest allies. Oh, it should be America's closest allies. Hello. Everyone's only sticking around for a little bit. Hello, Poppy Seeds. As Prime Minister Morrison, Prime Minister Johnson, I want to thank you for this partnership. But it was too late. The damage was done. Biden just laid the Scotty for marketing nickname to rest permanently, that fella down under. And of course, it didn't take long for that fella down under to start trending on Twitter. And it says, it's embarrassing enough when someone forgets your name when speaking to you. So he's now referred to as that fella down under. I realised that was 11 minutes and I went, no, not watching that. Oh, thank you, Poppy Seeds. Lovely. Yeah. That fella down under. Thank you very much, Poppy Seeds. So, as I said, the Katie Joy, Todd Chrisley, wow, his podcast, wowzers, was unbelievable. So let's go. Well, the other thing is, GF, is that we had a deal with the French to build submarines, and they actually found out that they weren't building our submarines by a press conference. And I believe we've already spent something like $20 million on submarines now that we're not getting from France. So there you go. Work that out. But yes, it's nice to see that we've got money. Brian Houston, as we know, his day in court is fronting is coming. So Brian Houston steps aside from Hillsong's boards as his day in court looms. So he is taking, it would seem, Crikey is reporting that he's starting to remove his names. Brian Houston's names may be intrinsically linked with the megachurch, but it is no longer on 18 or 9 of 19 Hillsong entities as he faces criminal charges. So he's removing his name from a lot of the Hillsong entities. So Pastor Brian Houston, whose name is synonymous with the Hillsong megachurch, has stepped aside from virtually all of his directorships in Hillsong entities in a major corporate overhaul, before he's due to face criminal charges of concealment early next month. Crikey has established that Houston's name has been removed from 18 of 19 Hillsong entities, which are registered as charities with the Australian Charities and Not-for-Profit Commission. ASIC shows Houston resigned as a director of Hillsong Church, one of the original entities, from August 17, 12 days after being charged by New South Wales Police with concealing information on the crime of child SA committed by his father in the early 70s. The McKellen Royal Commission heard that Houston had become aware in 1999 of the crime and had failed to pass the information on to police at the time. Houston has consistently asserted he was representing the victim's wishes. A friend and mentor to Prime Minister Scott Morrison, Houston has been a fixture on the boards of Hillsong entities, in some cases for more than 2 decades. Over that period, Hillsong has grown exponentially from its base in Sydney's northwest to become a global phenomenon. I can't say the word. As registered charities, the entities are exempt from an array of taxes. Hillsong has made no public announcement of Houston's move or the reasons for it. As Crikey reported, it is possible Houston would be ineligible to be a company director should he be convicted of the crime of concealment, which carries a maximum penalty of 5 years jail. Houston's case is listed for hearing in the Magistrates Court on October 5. Houston has said he will return from the US to appear in court and will vigorously defend the charge. Hillsong has been under siege from the media in the US and the UK, and this weekend's 60 Minutes is set to air allegations of sexual harassment and assault from 2 women. So this is what Crikey is reporting. So what do you think about the fact he's removing his name from the boards? And then, of course, we've got this. Hillsong member wins The Voice Australia amid controversy surrounding the global megachurch. Now, this is from Christian Post. So, again, you always, when you read these articles, you've got to remember the publication in which they come from. So, Bella Taylor-Smith, a member of the global megachurch Hillsong, was crowned the winner of The Voice Australia on Sunday, alongside her coach, Guy Sebastian, who is also a professing Christian. So she was victorious following her powerful duet performance with Sebastian of Andre Bocelli's The Prayer. She's a singing teacher. I can't believe it. I'm so thankful. Can't wait to see the incredible things ahead of me. The singer, who used her time on the show to sing several faith-based songs, then performed her new single, Higher. The win comes on the heels of multiple scandals surrounding the multi-site evangelical church. The most public controversy was firing of Hillsong's East Coast pastor, Carl Nentz, for moral failures, including an affair. In Australia last month, police officials announced that the senior pastor of Sydney-based megachurch, Brian Houston, was charged with concealing child sex offences. Police will allege in court that Houston knew the information relating to SA of a young male in the 70s and failed to bring that information to the attention of police. In a statement to the Christian Post through Hillsong, Houston expressed shock at the charges. The church also shared a statement explaining that it is disappointed that Pastor Brian has been charged and asked he be afforded the presumption of innocence and due process is his right. Following Smith's victory this week, viewers accused the show of promoting the church. Many online commentators accused Sebastian of conspiring to rig the show, noting Sebastian's brother Chris had won the previous season of The Voice. Hillsong church members auditioned for a Hillsong coach, then Hillsong coach has to act like the Hillsong connection isn't there until the grand final night. But okay, one tweet highlighted. Smith took to Instagram to celebrate her win, which was filmed months ago. She thanks church community. In a recent interview summarized, Smith said she doesn't plan to give up her teaching job, even though she secured a record contract. I love teaching. It's one of my passions. I'll keep doing it. The thing is that I think it comes down to when mandatory reporting came in. And I think that was what the issue was, and it's about the concealment of it, that he knew but he did nothing about it. And I don't know when mandatory reporting came in, but it's been in for many, many years. So yeah, that's right. Because there was nothing done about it, they made him, it's very confusing. If you actually read the Royal Commission and you read the testimony, you'll find that he admitted to knowing and doing nothing about it. Hello, Plan to Create. So, hey, Plan to Create, do you want to fold mine too? Oh, dear. Yeah, so October 5, he's in court. Now, interesting, he's coming back to Australia. Is he going to be made to quarantine for 14 days? So when would he have to come back if he's due in court on October 5? He'd nearly need to be back, wouldn't he? Get his 2 weeks of quarantining? Or are they going to change the rules for him? Where's my calendar? Let's have a look. So he's due in court in October 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. He has to be back. He has to be back by the 20th to get his 14 days in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, he'd have to be back by the 20th to get his 14 days in, because otherwise he's not going to be out of quarantine before he's going to go to court. Or is he going to get special exemption rules? And he has to, don't forget, he has to have an exemption to get back into the country. I just find it very interesting that, he's saying, I'm coming back to Australia. But there's people that wanting to get back who've been overseas for ages and they can't get back. But he can waltz in and out like he pleases. Well, it's definitely going to be interesting, Anthony, as to how this is all played out. And I think, but it also puts Brian, oh, really? You don't need to get an exemption to come back in? I thought you couldn't get back in if you're Australian. I thought you had to, I don't know how it works. Shows you how much I know. I thought there were some Australians that couldn't get back in. He'll just pay the money for the first class flight. Oh, that's true. Yeah. So do you think that he's taking his name off all the company boards is a normal thing, or does he think that there's going to be trouble? Yeah, so you reckon it's all about the money? Isn't New South Wales going to start home quarantine, or is that South Australia? I have to say I've stopped paying attention to all of this stuff because I'm not really happy with the picnic rules in Melbourne at the moment. I can just see it failing big time, but I'm happy to be able to meet my family. Or my parents, at least, in the park. But I can just see it not working. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Well, the problem is, Marmaduke, I think he admitted to it in the Royal Commission, because a part of the Royal Commission was that it would be given to the police to investigate. So it's based on the evidence that's come out of the Royal Commission. So, but as I said, it's going to be interesting. But it's going to put everybody on notice as far as mandatory reporters are going to be concerned, because nobody will the problem will be now everybody will be reported. The system will get overwhelmed, and it should get overwhelmed, and they should be able to weed out the real from the, the not real allegations. But it means that we're at the end of the day, if it means that we're going to protect children, then we need to have these systems in place. And that's really what's come out of the Royal Commission, was that institutions are actually, on notice, and they've got to have really strict child safe policies in place. Yes, he did admit to covering it up. He admitted to covering it up in the Royal Commission. So he admitted to it, and that is the problem. His evidence, his own evidence. Yeah. If you read, if I get a chance, I'll pull up the Royal Commission documents and we can have a look at his evidence. But it was his evidence that's essentially got him arrested. So anyway, that's my understanding. And so it's from that evidence that he's in trouble. So. Alrighty. So, hello, the Fox. I know people coming in, everyone's jumping in, so that's really cool. All right, so Christian Porter. So we learnt the other day about this blind trust. Now, I've come across an article today where an independent media operator has been threatened by a company of suing them if it was made public that they're the blind trust. Now, interestingly, they've made it public. We're going to look at that. So we're going to look at a couple of articles about it, and then we're going to look at this other one. So, because it's from an independent media outlet. I got it 20 minutes before. I've only got it 20 minutes before I came on, I started my stream. So I haven't had a chance to really delve into it. So remember, these are just opinions. These aren't necessarily facts. Please go and look at your own stuff. Go do your own research and make up your own mind, because it's really important that you do that. You have the freedom of thought. I know, a creator telling people to go make up their own mind and not telling them what to think. If somebody tried to tell me what to think, I'd tell them where to go. Anyway, Scott Morrison not going to speculate if Christian Porter will keep job over blind trust. So apparently he's still waiting for advice on whether it's allowed. So Scott Morrison has refused to guarantee Christian Porter will keep his job. So, and he'll await advice from his department as to whether the industry minister's declaration that a blind trust paid part of his personal legal fees met ministerial standards. Mama Duke, he has to ask. He didn't ask Jenny. On Friday, the Prime Minister told ABC AM he was not going to speculate when asked if Porter could keep his job if he paid money back to the Legal Services Trust. Morrison described the blind trust as a complicated and not ordinary set of arrangements he's seeking to understand. So he doesn't understand it. Okay. Scomo doesn't understand it. Tell me, Scomo, what don't you understand? A spokesperson for Porter said he had undertaken disclosure in accordance with requirements of the register and consistent with previous members' disclosures of circumstances where the costs of personal legal matters have been mitigated by contributions or reductions of fees. On Tuesday, Porter revealed in an update to his register of interest that a blind trust known as the Legal Services Trust had paid part of the fees for the now discontinued defamation case against the ABC. The former Attorney General did not disclose the trustees, the amount, or the source of the funds, claiming that a potential beneficiary, he had no access to the information. I see nothing, I know nothing, I hear nothing. On Wednesday, Morrison told Porter he wants to resolve controversy and sought advice from his department on whether ministerial standards have been met. On Thursday, Morrison declined to say if Porter had given him advance notice before publicly declaring the payment. On Friday, Morrison said he'd sought advice from his department because he always acts precisely with the best advice given. Actually, best advice possible. But I thought he asked, why did he wait on Friday? I thought he said that he'd already sought advice. I always want to ensure ministerial standards are fully understood in these contexts and the right decisions are made. Asked if it could be inferred, Porter would be asked to resign after department advice, as Bridget McKenzie did over the sports grants controversy. In February 2020, Morrison replied, I don't think you can infer anything. I think you can take it that I'm following a process which would expect a Prime Minister to do who believes strongly in ministerial standards. Morrison again evaded directly answering whether he knew about the blind trust ahead of the public declaration. Morrison said he, Porter, only most recently became aware of becoming a beneficiary, and that beneficiary payment becomes available to him. Oh, he only just found out. These are complicated. These are not ordinary arrangements. That's why we're seeking to have a full understanding of them. Morrison refused to say whether he asked Porter what efforts he'd made to discover the source of the money, but said their conversations was about ensuring they had a shared view that ministerial standards are always maintained. Morrison said he was not going to speculate on whether Porter paying the money back would be sufficient to keep his job. He asked if, for example, Mr. Porter gave back the money, would that mean he could absolutely keep his ministerial job? Hello. Totally clueless. Hello, Kino. Hello, chaotic. Morrison says, I'm not going to speculate that. I'm saying we're taking the appropriate advice to make right decisions to ensure ministerial standards are upheld. Oh, we're still going. Hello, Kim. Oh, thank you, Kim. It's by me. Cool. This paper bag that just happened to have money in it just fell out of the back of the truck. I don't know where it's come from. Morrison told 3AW he was taking the issue extremely seriously because it needs to be dealt with appropriately, and Porter understood that. In a response to a question suggesting a radio broadcaster would be sacked if taking a blind payment, Morrison replied, until I get further advice, then I don't think it helps to speculate. I understand the point you're making. That's why I'm taking it seriously. The ministerial standards require ministers be unaffected by considerations of personal advantage or disadvantage, including that they must not seek or encourage any form of gift in their personal capacity. Hello, Alberta and Stella. Hello, physics. Ministers must also comply with the requirements of Parliament and the Prime Minister relating to declaration of gifts. The standards require ministers not to seek or accept benefits in connection with their duties, and that they must not come under any financial or other obligation to individuals or organisations that may appear to improperly influence their duties. I don't understand how a trust can help pay his legal fees when he kept saying it was from it was a personal legal matter. It should be him doing it. Anyway. So that was from The Guardian. So the ABC ran this story. and then we're going to get to the one that's going to actually reveal that we're going to reveal who the blind trust was. So, and just here it says, we were deliberately ignored. French ambassador found out about submarine deal through the media. So Australia has actually, no, oh, really? Oh, thank you, Alberta. You see what happened to Craig Kelly's website? He didn't keep his website registered and it has been taken over. But no, I haven't seen that. That's funny. So this says, Christian Porter's future as minister increasingly uncertain after decision to accept mystery funds to cover part of his legal bills. Now, and they've used the word embattled. So he's asked his head of department, Phil, that guy, to investigate. So the guy that was supposed to be looking into the SA of staffers is now on this job. When asked if the industry minister could repay the money or reveal donors and remain on the front bench, he said he's not going to speculate it. Liberal sources have told the ABC the situation will be resolved one way or another, but Mr. Morrison's comments have fueled speculation that Mr. Porter will either be dumped from the ministry or walk. One MP suggested eyes were on investigations too, given his oversight of internal inquiries into so-called sports rorts and who knew what and when within the Prime Minister's office about the Brittany Higgins allegations. Finance Minister Simon Birmingham said all the ministers needed to abide by both the letter and the spirit of ministerial standards. So it looks like there is some rumblings within the government. While Mr. Porter insists his declarations was in the rules, his decision to accept an undisclosed sum of money from an undisclosed source has raised questions about his judgment. Undisclosed. Oh, I love it how they go here. No taxpayers' funds were used in the meeting the costs of the minister's actions against the ABC and Milligan, which have now concluded. This is what So Porter is saying, I didn't use taxpayers' funds, yet no damages were paid following the settlement, although ABC paid $100,000 in mediation costs. Mr. Porter, taxpayers did pay. It's cost us. Oh, dear. Oh. I'm sorry, I missed your comment too, Kim. I'm really sorry I've missed it. I apologise. Oh, yeah. So, so the Greens, this is the Greens website. Christian Porter is unfit to be minister. Call on the PM to turf him out of cabinet. So this is what they've written. After 6 months of denying damning allegations of historical R, a defamation suit against the ABC and blocking the release of the ABC defence. Sorry about that. It has come to light that Christian Porter's considerable legal fees have been paid via a secret personal donation. Through all of this, the Prime Minister has defended Porter's innocence without ordering any investigation or inquiry, and didn't bother to read the detailed dossier from Porter's alleged victim. Sent to his office. Thank you, everybody. Despite the allegations and now the secret donation scandal, Porter has remained in cabinet and has not faced any process to determine his fitness to be minister. It's patently obvious that Christian Porter has breached the PM's own ministerial standards by allowing his legal fees to be paid by a blind trust without declaring who donated or how much they gave. The Prime Minister's ministerial standards prevents a minister from seeking or encouraging gifts in a personal capacity, and note the need for declaration and transparency. It is not acceptable for a cabinet minister to accept money without having to declare how much it was or who it was from. But the PM is still protecting his mates rather than accepting this is a clear breach of his own standards, has punted the problem to an inquiry run by his own department head, Phil, I can't pronounce his name. This is a classic delaying tactic from the PM, who did the same thing when it became clear that the sports saga, the involvement of Minister McKenzie, were in breach of rules. We call on the PM to stop protecting the boys' club and dump Porter from the ministry. If he doesn't do that, the Greens will move a motion of no confidence in Minister Porter in the House of Representatives and move a censure motion in the Senate when Parliament resumes. This government has no regard for parliamentary standards and no care for damage it's doing to public confidence in our democracy, and simply must start listening and believing women. Will you join us? So they've really got this petition going. So apparently the ministerial standards 2.21 says ministers are required to exercise the functions of their public office unaffected by considerations of personal advantage or disadvantage. Ministers in their official capacity may therefore accept customary official gifts, hospitality, tokens of appreciation, and similar formal gestures in accordance with relevant guidelines, but must not seek or encourage any form of gift in their personal capacity. Ministers must comply with the requirements of the Parliament and the Prime Minister relating to the declaration of gifts. Then 2.22, ministers must not seek or accept any kind of benefit or other valuable consideration, either for themselves or for others, in connection with performing or not performing any element of their official duties as a minister. Ministers shall ensure that they do not come under any financial or other obligation to individuals or organisations to the extent that they may appear to be influenced improperly in the performance of their official duties as a minister. So that's what the ministerial standards state. Do you think that a blind donation actually breaches that? So that's the question for you to think about for the moment. What do you think? What's your thoughts on that? Yes, he is the fella from down under. Doesn't get any more dodgy. I mean, if we look at those ministerial standards, I do think there are some questions to be asked. I don't, as I said, Scomo's saying I need to investigate in it, but if that's the standards, if that's what the code of conduct says, it seems to me it's a breach. So, Porter, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. All right. So this, I've just come across this. Now, I need to just say to you that I have not verified that any of this is correct. So, but it reveals the blind trust. So, look at this. So this is called True Crime News Weekly. It's an independent. Well, I agree. I agree, Chaotic. I think he lost all the integrity initially. We'll sue you. We'll sue if you tell. Small WA legal firm behind Mystery Blind Trust, which alleged Christian Porter says paid his legal fees. So Alberta, a blind trust, as we've discovered, is a company. It's where you don't know who's paid the money. That's why it's called blind. So this True Crime News Weekly has actually unraveled who the blind trust is. A small legal firm based in Christian Porter's hometown of Perth is believed to be behind the mysterious trust which the alleged politician has used as a supposed blind trust for others, seemingly unbeknownst to him, to pay for his $1 million legal fees in his ultimately doomed defamation battle against the ABC. So, Alberta, it's money, you don't know who's paid it or how much is paid, hence why it's called blind. It's called blind. He's saying he doesn't know who it is. It's a question dominating Australian politics this week. He updated the Parliamentary Register of Interest to claim that a blind trust called the Legal Services Trust had paid $1 million towards his legal fees. In his ultimate, so they paid his legal fees, but he's saying he doesn't know who it is. He doesn't know where the money's come from. He doesn't know who's paid the money. That's why it's called a blind trust. So it says the defamation battle with the ABC came after Porter's outing of himself in March as the senior cabinet minister allegedly responsible for the R of a 16-year-old schoolgirl in 1988. In his statement to Parliament, Porter claimed he didn't know who was behind the $1 million or who may have donated the funds. Porter, for what it's worth, continues to strenuously deny all the allegations against him. So there's $1 million being paid towards his legal fees. He doesn't know who did it or where it came from. He doesn't know which truck it fell off the back of. He says, I was only 17, he repeatedly pleaded 3 times during his press conference. As it stands on the issue of who may have donated to Porter's Blind Trust, for all we know at the moment, the money could have come from a motley crew of convicted Rs, PEDs, murderers, Russian mafia, Chinese government, and Colombian drug cartels, or maybe just a shifty billionaire looking for a political or a business favour down the track. True Crime News Weekly will, over the next few days, contact some of Australia's biggest and best-known billionaires to get it on record whether they supplied any money to Porter's Blind Trust. However, for the time being, it remains clear in the clear public interest to identify which parties may have assisted Porter to help create this supposed blind trust. So now they're according to him, Alberta, the money just appeared in his bank account, I guess. A search of the ABN register shows that there are 3 legal services trust entities in all of Australia. 2 are based in New South Wales, with one having been set up in 2012, the other in 2018. The other remaining entity is the Trustee for Legal Services Trust, which was registered on the 29th of January 2018 and has its main business located in WA 6050. Of course, West Australia is the home of Porter, and he has long links to state's legal industry, where he was the state's former Attorney General, and he's currently the MP for the electorate of Pearce, located in Pearce. The postcode of 6050 covers the Perth suburbs of Kilbinia, Menora, and Mount Morley. Information further provided to True Crime News Weekly then suggested the Trustee for Legal Services Trust had been created by the small legal firm AUL Law, trading as legal services. A search of the ANBN record shows AUL Law also lists the same WA postcode of 6050 as its principal business address. So the principal of they've named the principal of the business. Meanwhile, once had a sole trader business, which also had the same address of 6050. On the website, the business and commercial litigation lawyers at AUL Law claim that their clients are entitled to reasonably priced or fixed fee-based, honest and transparent legal services with no hidden expenses. Oops. That's what I say, Michelle. I would be more than happy for someone to put $1 million in my bank account. So they contacted the law firm this week by email and then by text message where they sent the relevant details as it relates to the story, then asked for a simple written confirmation or denial in response. We informed AUL Law that there seems to be only 3 such similar names, trusts in the entire nation. It was legitimate for us to send questions, at the very least, to whittle them out of the equation. We did not receive a response. On the morning of September 17, True Crime News Weekly then contacted AUL's law principal by mobile phone. However, upon introducing ourselves, the phone was immediately hung up. They once again called, who this time did engage in a brief conversation, perhaps realizing that immediately and fearfully hanging up on a journalist, politely asking relevant questions in the public interest wasn't perhaps an altogether good look for the professional firm. After we managed to ask questions why she's seemingly avoiding us rather than issuing a short written response to our questions, the lawyer began loud and screamingly and threatened True Crime Weekly News with defamation. Well, I reckon so too, Cooper. That would be very good. I think we all need we all just need the blind trust, hey? Rather than issuing a clear and simple denial that the trust is in no way related to Mr. Porter, she claimed we should be targeting our questions to Porter himself. When we told Ms. Lucktuk that Porter isn't the correct person to ascertain basic facts about whether a trust fund is linked to her legal firm, the lawyer then finally confirmed the trustee for Legal Services Trust was connected to her law firm. If you publish anything about my family trust, I will reserve my rights, she threatened. True Crime Weekly News also informed that the principal that they had also contacted Porter by phone and left a voice message at his electorate office in Perth, but we're yet to hear back. Porter still hasn't commented before the story was published. They also informed Ms. Lucktuk that the story was in the clear public interest and that her behaviour in first repeatedly avoiding the questions and then threatening would be reported on, and our public service journalism will not be halted by threats and anger. I went through the victim's diary. It was pretty horrific, and yeah, he was very. If I had a million, well, yeah, I wouldn't be giving mine to lawyers either. So they informed Miss Lucktuk that they were seeking a written denial that the trust fund was not in any way associated with Porter. They informed her that they were considering the great public interest, that it would be prudent to publicly distance herself from Porter if she nor the firm had no links to politicians' blind trust. Once again, she abruptly hung up the phone, and that was it. But according to the brief bio on the company website, she began her career in Mumbai, India in 1998 with a leading commercial litigation firm before building her own legal practice with a specialist focus on business law and commercial litigation. She migrated to Australia in 2007, where she earned a law degree from Macquarie University in Sydney. She's worked extensively as a senior lawyer in Adelaide, Brisbane, before permanently moving to Perth in 2013 to work with some leading law firms. True Crime News Weekly has been informed by 2 credible sources that there may have been other well-known figures in WA's tightly cloistered legal industry who may have assisted with the blind trust for Porter. Don't forget, he was also yes. So it says we've been also credibly informed by multiple sources that publishing this story may put us in physical danger, not just by that law, but by others. So that they've written here, as such, the high-profile law firm Xenophon Davis, as well as 2 other lawyers, and the MEAA have been made aware of the information we've published and that we hold, while we will also not hesitate to contact police and other authorities if we receive threats in any shape or form or reason to fear for our safety. A number of well-known Australian media identities have also been made aware of the information we possess in the event of any harm being done to us. Wow. This is just taken on a new this has just taken on a whole new path, because now they're talking about they've given out information to other law firms and other people in case something happens to them. Wow. If a journalist becomes a victim of violence or is even killed in this country for reporting political news in the public interest, it will simply be further proof that Australia as a nation under Prime Minister Scott Morrison has become closer to a tin pot banana republic dictatorship that protects unhinged criminals and scoundrels as well as alleged Rs, rather than any kind of advanced democratic nation. The irony is not lost on us that even though True Crime News Weekly regularly and accurately and fairly reports on crime and criminals, including major drug traffickers, it is sleazy politicians and lawyers who we have to watch out for. Wow. So what do you reckon? Now this one is interesting. Former Foreign Minister Julie Bishop went to the same private school as Christian Porter, and she was Christian Porter's boss. Wow. Oh. So, as I said, this is called True Crime News Weekly that I came across today. So, wow. Yeah, so it's True Crime Weekly. I'll put a link in the chat. Yeah, so Porter is the politician. There was an allegation. So when he was 17, there was an allegation. He's had an allegation made against him from when he was 17 years old. And he sued the reporter, the journalist that released the story, for defamation, which was settled out of court. He's had all the defense suppressed, so we don't know really what happened. But it's the same person. So, what are you thinking about it all? It's pretty, look, there's lots of, yeah. I didn't like Julie Bishop either. So that's all the Christian Porter news. That is just bizarre, isn't it? It's how are you feeling about that? I in my opinion, I believe that blind trust is a breach of ministerial standards. Well, this is the thing for Leaves, is that it was never investigated. The alleged victim committed suicide and had everything written in a diary. It was written or reported that a senior cabinet minister from the government or senior minister from the government was responsible, and people were guessing, and he actually said that he was the person that that he was the person being spoken about, although it was not true. But again, with the alleged victim no longer with us, it's very hard to convict. Confused how the truth, which is the defense against the defamation, can be suppressed in regards to allegation. Well, that's right. I don't know how that happened, but it's happened. Let me say what you're thinking. My mind is very good. Oh, that's okay. Sometimes my mind has gone. The blind trust is the breach of his integrity. Look, I personally think he was unfit regarding those other allegations. That's my belief was. He did lose the Attorney General post and became another senior cabinet minister, but I don't think even having that question mark. I just know if it was me, I would want it sorted out. If there were no chances, no charges. I know the South Australian coroner is now investigating the circumstances of the alleged victim's suicide, and so she actually has the unredacted copy. So but yeah, in my mind, those allegations should have taken him off the front bench altogether, because and then let the people of his let his electorate decide whether they wanted him to represent them, because how can you? I just think there's too many question marks over him. So that's just my opinion, and this blind trust is just that now. Well, that's what the diary has revealed, that he believed that, or he wanted to be prime minister. And if you read the journal entries, and I did do a video on it, where we read it all, the alleged victim's main goal was to stop him from ever becoming prime minister, and I think she's done that. But there are way too many. Oh, there's way too many unanswered questions. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that's how I think it should have been handled. He should have been put on the backbench and let his electorate deal with him to see whether they wanted him in, and then by that time everything could have died down. But I don't know why the Prime Minister hasn't wanted to know for his own peace of mind. Do you really want that? Think about it. Do you really want something like that hanging over your head? Wouldn't you want it sorted out? Wouldn't you want to know the answers? That's how I look at it. If it was me, and if I would be really fighting to clear my name. And the other issue is, if he knew that he was defamed, if there wasn't any truth to what that's right. That's the only reason, GF. The issue that I have is that he never went through with his defamation charges. If he knew, I want to know what was in the ABC's defence that scared him so much to settle out of court, because he walked away with just the mediation fees paid. He walked away with nothing. What did he gain? He gained nothing, from what I can work out, because ABC haven't had to retract their article even. So why is it that after a defamation lawsuit, the only money I've just got too many questions. But if I was innocent, I'd be fighting tooth and nail. That's all I'm saying. He gained time. He needed time to get his paper bag filled up with money. He wanted his blind trust. Well, you know what, GF? All that's done is that it's really just got people are wondering what on earth is going on. People are going to be digging more. Look at the digging that's gone on for the blind trust. That's what I want to know. The Fox, what is in those documents that we're not supposed to know? He caned. I have to say, I didn't think very much of him when he was the Attorney General of WA, because I was living in WA at the time and I couldn't stand the guy then. So maybe I am a little bit biased because I didn't like him way back from my time living in WA. But Cal, we've looked at Biden referring to Scomo as that fella down under. We've looked at Brian Houston, who's coming back to Australia to face his charges, and he's taken his name off as a director for most of the Hillsong entities. And we've just been looking at Christian Porter. So I guess for me, I get really upset when they go, the taxpayers haven't paid any, it didn't cost the taxpayers anything in a defamation. It did, because we had to pay the mediation bill. And we also had to pay the lawyers for that. We also have paid for all the lawyers for the ABC. So, hello, it cost us a lot more. All he did, in my opinion, is waste taxpayers' money. That's all he did. That's all he's done, is waste the taxpayers' money. Money that could have gone to people who have lost their jobs. But yeah, you've lost all trust in mainstream media. So, as I said, from what I can see, is I just keep having more questions than answers. I'm getting very little answers. I've got lots and lots of questions. Like you can. That's right. Could you, and even with this debacle over the submarines, look what they've spent on the French submarines now they're not going to use. They could have funded another round of JobKeeper for people. But no, let's just pick on all the people that got the money. And let's just give all the corporations a pat on the back for making profits. Gee, you can't say that I'm cynical, can you? Oh, dear. So, let's just go after the people that use the JobKeeper money to keep our economy going, that went to the local shops to go buy their food and groceries to keep somebody in a job. But no, we'll just... Oh, I've lost all my other stuff. I had a whole pile of Bruz stuff here too. Oh, here we go. All right, let's go on to Bruz. I knew I had some more stuff. All right. This is a Twitter post. So it says, this week Kanimbala wombats alerted me to a sad detail in a video recorded at John Barilaro's Southern Highlands property. The YouTube video Bruz by Friendly Daughters shows footage of a wombat on the Deputy Premier's property exhibiting fur loss and emaciation, key signs of mange. So you have an ethical responsibility to help, Mark Pearson in a letter to John Barilaro. So he says, mange is a skin disease caused by mites eating through a wombat's skin, causing an unbearable itchy rash, and without treatment, a slow, painful death by dehydration, starvation, secondary infection like pneumonia, or vehicle collisions caused by blindness. Kanimbala wombats, a volunteer-based mange treatment program in Kanimbala Valley, raised their concern with us. And I've today written to the Deputy Premier urging him to investigate the health and well-being of any wombats on the property. I wrote, as Minister for Regional New South Wales and a member for part of Parliament holding the second highest office of the government's executive, you have an ethical responsibility to know if wild animals inhabit your property and are suffering in a way you can secretly seek to alleviate. I'm aware the video in question was filmed last year and the wombat in the video may have already succumbed to this illness, but given wombats share burrows and mange is highly contagious, I'm concerned other wombats on your properties have and will continue to spread the condition. I therefore ask you to immediately investigate the welfare of any and all wombats on your property and urgently engage veterinary advice and the services of a local wombat carer who are licensed to treat it. I also mentioned how last month I wrote to New South Wales Environment Minister Matt Keane urging him to commit funding to the grassroots groups who are out there in the field every day treating thousands of wombats and their burrows every day. Wombat mange is an animal welfare crisis with up to 90% of wombat populations affected by mange and local extinctions already noted. Sadly, there is a 100% infection transfer rate from mother wombat to joey and a very high rate of wombat to wombat transfer as they are social animals and share infected burrows. Though mange is recognised by all Australian states and territories as an animal welfare issue, to date, the New South Wales Government has committed no funding to the treatment of wombat mange. The Animal Justice Party believes letting wombats suffer in this unimaginable pain is cruel and unacceptable, particularly because we know community-based projects work. And then he's put a petition. So that's a wombat with the disease. So what do you reckon? So it says, tell the New South Wales Environment Minister to save wombats from the deadly disease. So this is a petition. So there you go. Now, what's interesting? What is interesting is that he's referring to Bruz. That's the video that at Jordan's getting sued for. So, and I think he does have a responsibility. Bruz has a responsibility to ensure that the wombats on his properties are well treated, are healthy. Would you agree? So, you say, yeah. I think he needs to. So that's well, maybe he needs a blind trust. We're going to keep using these blind trusts. I can see blind trusts being in every joke now. I still don't know how. Can you imagine though? Like, let's just go back to Porter for a minute. Could you imagine you're working in a job, and someone comes up and gives you, give you a bag of $1 million and leaves it for you? What do you think is going to happen if you took that money? How many people would lose their job for receiving money? So that's just my little take on it. However, if anybody would like to set a blind trust up, we can distribute it between us all. $100,000 each. Gee, I would be thinking They relieved him of a liability. Hello. All right. So now let's get on to the crazy part of the evening. Katie Joy looks like, yeah. Probably by now you've heard, most of you have seen or heard the podcast, the latest podcast from Todd Chrisley. Hello, Riffs. So, you've come in for that. You've timed it perfectly. This has been put to video. This is 3 minutes of Todd Chrisley's latest podcast, and they've added video to it. Let's just say, in Todd Chrisley's podcast, he has talked about the fact that two people, Katie Joy tried to get NDAs against. Now, the two people I can think of is Little Miss Noble, who we know she had the TRO out, and the other person that she had the TRO out on. I've been told that those are the two people that she tried to get an NDA. Now, my problem is, Four Leaves goes, oh, there's a crazy part. Oh, we haven't even got there yet, Four Leaves. The thing is, if you were being harassed and stalked and feared for your life, why are you going to ask for people to put in an NDA to stop talking about you? Oh, and to have you all stop talking about each other. Why would you do that if you were scared of harassment? Why would you be trying to silence people? Anyway, this is only 3 minutes. It was a really good clip. So let's just watch this or listen to this.
We can talk about Katie Joy now. This foul human being who makes up nothing but lies.
Called her a foul human being. And she was very quiet today. Very quiet. There was very few tweets. I think there was only one video. I'd say that she's had an urgent meeting with her lawyer.
You know, speaking of nosy bitches,
Oh, sorry, I just heard that. Did you hear what he just said? Oh, be quiet.
You know, speaking of nosy bitches, we can talk about Katie Joy now. This vile human being who makes up nothing but lies, just again for clickbait. She doesn't understand why people dislike her so much. She doesn't understand why people on Twitter are so mean to her. Let me let you in on a secret, Katie. People don't like nasty, vile, ugly people. People don't like people who find comfort in other people's misery. People just don't like you because you don't like yourself.
He's just going, there's no pleasantries there.
Don't like you because you don't like yourself. Because if you liked yourself, you would not be attacking everyone on social media from your living room, which has a bad sofa and bad throw pillows and looks ratchet. Katie, honey.
I hadn't heard that one. Wowzers. Oh, whoever put the video footage on it was perfect. Oh, I've got to hear that again.
Ratchet. Katie, living room, by the way. Attacking everyone on social media from your living room, by the way, which has a bad sofa and bad throw pillows and looks ratchet. Katie, honey, learn to count. Multiple is anything past one. You are being sued by multiple people. There are two women that are currently getting ready to file defamation suits against you that your attorney reached out to their attorney trying to get them to settle with you for an NDA, and you would never talk about them again. That's not going to happen. They're not going to do that. They're suing you for defamation. Yes, I know. I've got the inside track. and you are going to be sued by those two people, and you're already being sued by a guy named Steve. That's 3. And the mother of all lawsuits is getting ready to land on your attorney Graham's desk. But we're going to file a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against her for damages to reputation. Because for some reason, I think she thinks that she's, classy or something.
Look what they did to the T-shirt. I got sued again. The actual pictures are making it even better. All I see is drama. Cal, yes. Well, the interesting thing is she put something in. She posted something the other day to say he was going to jail.
Classy or sophisticated or in the elite group if she can hire an attorney. Let me just tell you something, folks. Nobody wants to hire an attorney. If you're having to hire an attorney, you know that you haven't spent money. So I look forward to seeing how Katie's going to pay for these bills that we're getting ready to rack up with her, because my attorneys are going to keep her attorney Graham very, very, very busy.
Now, he also went on to talk about the fact that he believed that there were more people that were looking to sue her. He set up an email address. He set up so if anybody hasn't, where are we? He's revealed his email address. So this is what he's done. And if he can get 12, he will cover the class action. He wants to put a class action. It says, if you have been harmed in any way due to defamation by Katie Joy Paulson, please send all info to victims of WOACB at gmail.com. This email address is being monitored by attorneys. I think you're right. Four Leaves. She really does enjoy the attention. So that's what he says. So he would like to get to 12, and he will cover all 12. So I know it's chaotic. Well, the other thing was she called me crazy. And the interesting thing is that I can't call her. I can't say it's defamatory because it's true. So this was one of her tweets from today. And her accounts are locked down. If you're feeling stressed or out of sorts, just hold on tight. Tomorrow's a new day. Today's fears and concerns can wash away with tomorrow's possibilities. So that was one of her tweets. And Todd Chrisley also talked about Emily D. Baker and has said that she was wonderful. He also addressed all these all the letters. So, thank you. Yes, it is Friday. Yes. I'm not crazy. I'm just very unique. Yes, I am. I like to use Sheldon Cooper's, I'm not crazy. My mother had me tested. But so it's interesting that after the podcast, all her Twitter went down, and all this chaos and karma talk and such is just become it. I try to be Cal. I really do. I always try to see the good in people. But it's hard. It's hard, but I know lots of people have been hurt by her. So, well, that's right. We're all loony together, hey? So, but anyway, that is really, that's a really short version of the podcast. It did go on for a bit longer. Unirock says this. Look at this. Unirock, I wish I had time to reach out. I could get some help. He's responding to Todd Chrisley's Todd Chrisley's tweet. He's been riding KJ's coattails. And then me after Katie pays me my paycheck every Friday. What's he doing, Unirock? Oh, yeah. Play your video, Rufus. Oh, you did send it to me. What was your what is your Twitter handle again, Rufus? I'm sorry. I know you sent it to me. Yes, he's in real estate. He's got money. Oh, that's it. Sorry. I'll grab that one. There we go. I think he's just trying to be relevant. I think you're right. You'll tweet it to okay, tweet it to me now and I'll be I'm sorry. I've been distracted. Yeah, well, apparently the French didn't know that the subs weren't that the subs were no longer required. So I just saw it there. So it'll be very interesting. Oh, okay, here we go. Oh, yes, here we go. So this is here we go. This is Rufus. He actually, I think, recorded the Katie Colt song for us with lyrics. Here we go. It's unlisted. Here we go. Sorry, my NBN.
Here's a story of a bubbly lady who was suing everybody on the net. All of them had valid points. I've heard bullshit. Just odor makes her wet. Here's a story of a discharged ginger who plays both sides and gossips like a girl. Sweet romance with Cal Curtis. Just give a dog a bone. Till one day when Miss Katie met Miss Ginger, they were victims and nothing was their fault. That these two lost a sort of formal following. That's the way that they became the Katie Colt. The Katie Colt. The Katie Colt. That's the way they became the Katie Colt.
There we go. So that was done by Mocking Media, and Rufus actually put the voices on, added the singing for us. So thank you, Rufus. What I'll do is I will is it okay if I put it into the chat, Rufus, for everybody to play? I think it's going to get good airtime today. Yeah. So Rufus did the 4 tracks of vocals. Yeah. So Rufus did the tracks for us. So there you go. I've just shared it for you so you can grab it and watch the Katie Colt on replay. Oh, dear me. Oh, boy. 4 tracks of vocals. That's pretty cool. You downloaded it? Well, I tell you what, if that doesn't cheer you up, nothing will. I took you 30 minutes. Oh. I just saw this. This was also on Twitter. Had to make it. Had to. Yeah. It says Zoom meetings are just modern seances. There's someone who wants to join us. Elizabeth, are you there? We can't hear you. Can you hear us? It's true. That's how. Isn't that what Zoom calls work? How they work? Can you hear us? Can you hear me? Oh, that's all right. That's cool. It's fine, Cal. I appreciate everything. So, yeah. So anyway, that's all I've got for you tonight. So thank you for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow. I've got I've still got some stories from yesterday that I didn't get to. I'll probably do them as uploads at some stage. But thank you for joining me. So I hope. Oh, hello, short order cook. I'm just about to go. I tell you what. Why don't we watch To Leave Tonight? Let's watch Katie Colt again. I'll put timestamps up so that you can follow along at home. But yes, thank you for joining me. I will be on again probably tomorrow. Oh, thank you, Alberta. Thank you very much for your generosity. It's lovely. It's really appreciated. Yes. All right. So let's watch it again. So again, thank you to Rufus for adding the vocals.
Here's a story of a bubbly lady who was suing everybody on the net. All of them had valid points. All her bullshit just Dodo makes her wet. Here's a story of a discharged ginger who plays both sides and gossips like a girl. Sweet romance with Cal Curtis. Just give a dog a bone. Till one day when Miss Katie met this ginger, they were victims and nothing was their fault. That these two just sort of were following. That's the way that they became the Katie Colts. The Katie Colts. The Katie Colts. That's the way they became the Katie Colts.
All right. Good night and thank you.